Hello, Oprah. My name's Brad Bishop. I wanted to make you this video personally to ask you a question. Before I ask you this question, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I don't claim any type of Democratic party. Okay, I grew up poor, being a Caucasian white male. I grew up practically in a single-parent family. When you grow up with 5 sisters in a single-parent home, you move around a lot. In those times of moving, you of course live in places where the cost of living is equal to kind of almost hopefully where you're at. You know, I lived in Norfolk, Virginia. I went to school in a predominantly African-American school. It was there I met lots of friends. I was accepted. I had great times, met great people, and still miss them to this day. In my teens, I moved to Texas, where I then had to adapt and went to a predominantly Hispanic school, where practically my whole life as a white Caucasian male, I've been a minority. I come to you because ever since the Trayvon Martin, and you made a show about Trayvon Martin, and it was a really big deal worldwide. Being a white Caucasian male that has African American friends, I grew up idolizing African Americans. I wear football jerseys of some prestige men, no matter what color they are, red, white, blue, white, black, Hispanic, or Asian. I've looked up to many African men growing up, not only from entertainment, but to music, to sports. And recently we've come over what I'm thinking that the media is fueling, and a little bit of help from you, a media racist war. And that word is so profound when I say that to you. I come to you because ever since the Trayvon Martin and how it's fueled a lot of violence on black on white crime. This is the motive behind my question, and I want you to understand who I am and why I'm going to ask you this. Right after the shooting on February 27th, the day after the Martin shooting, 2 black males in Detroit abducted and killed a white couple. The victims were found bound, shot, and burned beyond recognition in an alley. Police are calling it a random thrill kill. It was never called a racist thing and blew up in the media like Trayvon Martin. On February 28th in Kansas City, Missouri, 2 black teens attacked a 13-year-old, which I have 2 13-year-olds going to school, attacked a 13-year-old white boy on his front porch as he was returning from school. They poured gasoline on him and set him on fire for no apparent reason, saying, "You get what you deserve, white boy." Nobody ever called that racist. Nobody ever blew that up in the media. On March 14th, a 20-year-old black man broke into the home of Bob and Nancy Strait in Oklahoma. He raped the 85-year-old Mr. Strait and then beat her to death. Then he shot 90-year-old Mr. Strait in the face with a pellet gun and broke his jaw and ribs. He died several days later. The thug stole $200, a TV set, and a Dodge Neon, which eventually was found where he was hiding. That never made the media. On April 5th in Mississippi, a 34-year-old black man checked into a hotel with his pregnant 25-year-old white girlfriend and their 1-year-old child. Okay, well, they had a relationship. The next day, the woman was found dead on the floor, brutally mutilated and covered with blood, as was the 1-year-old child. The knife was in the room. I'm so not racist. This is terrible that I'm even making this video. Nobody called that racist. Nobody put it to the media. On April 15th in Las Vegas, 22-year-old black man raped a 38-year-old white woman and her 10-year-old daughter. He then killed them by smashing their skulls in with a hammer. Once again, no one ever called it racist. No one ever threw it to the media. And all the other unbelievable stories that have not been reported. I ask you this question because of this. You are coming out with a movie called The Butler, and it's probably going to be an incredible movie and give us the history of what African Americans went through during the segregation times. Unfortunately, me being a white Caucasian, I'm no in control of what my ancestors did and why they did them and how ignorant it was. At the same time, a part of your film shows, I would imagine, a bunch of white people burning up a bus full of black people and calling them niggers. And your movie couldn't have such a great timing with all of this anger-fueled, racist hate crimes that are happening to white people. Things don't have a balance anymore when we have our own president, which is fine. You probably, me saying this, would probably think I probably didn't vote for him. I'm probably conservative, but is drawing racial lines when it comes to racial profiling and addressing that to the world. When it comes to a movie like this coming out with all of this stuff happening, I know there's a lot of art. I know there is a lot of work put into that film. Unfortunately, your film is going to fuel hate, and evidently we are seeing people are retaliating because of Trayvon Martin. Nevertheless, to be reminded of buses being burned with African Americans in them. I ask you this, being the woman you are, the power that you have, the presence that you have, the education of all these years of making all these shows you have, to give us a balance. You did a thing on Trayvon Martin. Okay. God bless his parents. God bless him. But can you make a show for us that are Caucasians that are getting now attacked by ignorant African Americans for hate crimes because of this? We need a balance in America. We have worked so hard for centuries to get where we're at. I don't see this until I'm reminded of it, of how much race is going on in the world, but how it's starting to create something, and there are medias. If something happens to a white person by a black person, it's not a race thing. But when one thing happens to a black person, it blows up, and now it's a race thing. And then, of course, Reverend Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton stick their heads out of their holes, and they start fueling the fire. Please, Oprah, I don't know where you stand, but for white America, who predominantly makes up a lot of your show base, please show us and give us a balance, please. Please do a show for us to let us know that you don't really care about black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You don't care about race at all. You care and love about everybody. Will you do that for us, please? I thank you very much, and I hope to get a response. Bye-bye.